Hello, dear family, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. How you doing?
Welcome back.
Welcome back, and we have another, meteor outburst of unknown origin, or is it? So when they looked at these, they couldn't say definitively where they came from. Now they're assuming they're meteors, but are they? Are they meteors?
No, they're not meteors. These are beings that are dimensional jumping.
Yeah, our whole paradigm is probably going to be so changed in like 10, 20 years. 10, 20 years, and we'll be looking back and thinking that we were thinking of reality in most cases like we were in the dark ages.
That's right. We're going to learn a lot of stuff.
Interesting. There have been a lot of fireballs. We'll put it at that, or interesting lights in the sky. We have a very bright fireball that came over Madrid, Spain, as well, and you can see how bright this one is. Stunning as well.
Those are beautiful. These I still feel more of an entity. It feels like it's doing something, maybe even opening a portal.
It could be, we got CERN going on, and who knows what doors that's been opening up.
Who knows?
So researchers reconstruct 11-year solar cycles all the way back to the year 969. And, basically just to give you like a brief synopsis of this, is what they have found is that there is evidence of disruptive events from the sun that in modern times would take out our grid much more often than what they had thought before.
That's interesting news.
As well as, basically seeing how the, grand solar minimums affect the weather, which is dramatic, and which, we are witnessing. Of course, we're also seeing some amplification from what we believe to be certain technologies as well.
Oh, that's definitely going on.
So this happens a lot more often than what we're told, is what this paper is telling us. So obviously in this world, and we've talked about it probably 400 times on videos, that we've been warned by the government to be able to take care of yourself for 6 months, no grid, no federal help. And I think we should take that seriously, because whether it's coming from a CME or a EMF, I mean, any way you look at it, it's been telegraphed that at some point that's going to happen.
That's something that I always have in the back of my mind.
Yes. So be somewhere with what you would have available as far as resources to take care of yourself. And that's really one of the most important messages that we have been getting, is you got to be ready to step outside of the system. And the system is always getting bigger and bigger and kind of swallowing more people up into it all the time. We need to be able to be outside of that system, more reliant on ourselves and each other, but without our, big quote unquote brother and sister there.
Very, very important to, keep an eye out, feel those opportunities where you can step out of the system and use the system to get out of the system.
Yeah, that's a huge statement right there. And that's what we've gotten from the guides again. Yep. Use the system to get out of the system. And that's been personally an issue that I've always had to deal with, because I've recognized that, the system is just wrong. It's corrupt. It's meant to basically keep us in a lower vibration, a lower frequency. It also just appeals to the more baser instincts in so many ways. The bigger house, the flashier car. Think back to the days when people were watching more of the mainstream TV. Back when I was growing up, there was like 3 channels, and maybe you could get a channel like 9, 11, or PBS in with some little strange programming here and there. But for the most part, everybody watched the same shows. Everybody watched, okay guys, here we go, I'm going to date you, Mork and Mindy. Yay. And things like that, Nanu. And then you were barraged by the same old commercials all the time, just telling you how you have to have this car, you have to have this truck, your lawn has to be this green. Oh, my lawn doesn't look as good as my neighbor's. All these things are appealing to the ego. Meanwhile, the real problems going on in this world are not being addressed, because everything about this world and this system was all about appealing to the ego to pull you into it.
Well, yeah, always looking outside yourself for fulfillment.
Exactly, and fulfillment lies within and also in service to others. If we're to take from the law of one material, here we see we have heavy ashfall. This was up to 25,000 feet. Is there an increase in volcanic activity? It sure feels like it. It really does feel like it lately. And also some interesting, curious quake activity as well. We see here a swarm, and this is by El Chichon volcano in Mexico going on here. So you have 22 quakes within 22 miles. A little numerology going there. Always look for that. Of El Chichon volcano from December 24th to January 19th. The last eruption took place in 1982. That was a VEI 5. So that was a pretty decent size eruption. More than 10 large explosive eruptions have occurred there since the mid-Holocene. So another area to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
And so many of you guys know that we're looking at the New Madrid area, and I feel it was telegraphed by the powers that be that the two eclipses are right over the New Madrid, and the last one, the second of the two, is in April of 2024. So now we're talking 3 years and about 3 months away. And I saw these quakes over here in Arkansas. And no, that's not Arkansas. They don't like that, I don't think. Anyway, this is, north of Little Rock. There's 2 of them here. Not big, 2.8, 1.9. But struck me as curious, as it is pretty close to the whole New Madrid area. And then we see on the other side over here, over in Tennessee, very close to Chattanooga, we have one as well. And, again, it's not that they can't happen. They do happen, but just I always find them a little curious because we see a ton over here in the fracking part of Oklahoma. But then we have one over here, and this one is 2 kilometers south of Quinton, Oklahoma, close to the Ouachita area. So you see them a little less often over through here. And by the way, there is a vein of quartz crystals here. It's one of the largest in the world. Extends for like 120 miles. So this is like a natural amplifier that's right there.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I like that idea.
It is pretty cool. And we've had a lot of avalanches. We have a rock avalanche with unusual run-out pattern, Mount Darwin, New Zealand. I feel like we're going to start to see some bigger eruptive events is really what it feels like. But the changes, they're going to keep speeding up.
Well, they will. It seems to be a bit of a frog in boiling water type thing, but they're definitely picking up.
And there's video of here that shows you this dynamic landscape that's going on. And over here, we see we have a large water spout near the coast of central Java in Indonesia. Indonesia gets everything, guys. Everything. And there's video here for you to see the water spout as well. Whether it's volcanoes or massive quakes. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of occurrences of tsunamis as well. Water spouts, they get all over this way, most definitely. And we see that Mongolia is in the grip of one of its most extreme winters on record. And we talked about when, we have this sudden stratospheric warming way up, it causes the jet stream to basically split. And here you go. So it's going to bring this extremely cold Arctic air down into certain areas and give them just incredible temperature fluctuations. -50 Celsius, -58 Fahrenheit. Cold has killed more than 500 camels. Oh. And, we've seen so many animals just freezing intact. And we wondered about, we don't even need it to be the day after tomorrow scenario to have an explanation for the woolly mammoths when you get down to it freezing all of a sudden mid-step while they're chewing.
It's here now.
Yeah, and so this is, again, you got to pick your poison, so to speak, and we've talked about a best places scenario. But if we are going to get colder and colder, and while we do love, say, we love Colorado, it's a beautiful state, great outdoor hiking in the snow and the mountains and everything. how cold could it get there? Could it end up being so brutally cold there it's almost unlivable, for instance, at the higher elevations? It really could be, but the thing is the timing, because there's so many things we're facing. Right now, the biggest concern we've had for the last, several months, 6 months maybe, has been more of a geopolitical one. And that's not settled by any means. This is not settled yet. It's going to be a long time before it is settled. We're really still in the beginning stages of some of these things that we're facing. So again, it's, you got to pick and choose. The West has had horrible wildfires, record-setting. Colorado, I mean, we know about California, but again, go to Colorado with the wildfires. And, one of our dear family members, hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Just saying hi. Like she said, the snows haven't been enough to make up for what they aren't getting the rest of the year. And this is causing the wildfires to get, more and more intense. And that's scary. That is scary when you find yourself surrounded by these fires, in which obviously California's had so many of them now the last 3-4 years. Every year is just another record-setting year. So what's next year going to bring? And so you get to basically think about, there is no perfect place. There really is no perfect place anywhere you look. How about the 2 big hurricanes that pounded Central America, where they don't really usually get hit by that? And that caused that migrant caravan that's heading north. Right now it's stalled, but it wants to keep heading north, and probably at some point will be, at the either Texas or New Mexico, Arizona border. We'll see. Anywhere you look, there's challenges.
That's right. So hence, finding that spiritual grit is super important.
Yeah, you got to find your zone. And then we've still been in the process of that. And we've been venturing from state to state to get a feel. And everywhere you go, there's challenges. Yep. There's challenges that are obvious. If we're dealing with overnight lows, single digits around 0, what's that going to be like in 5 more years? And what's that going to be like if the grid goes down and everybody's out there scrambling trying to get as much wood as they could?
I know, that's going to be an interesting one.
Meanwhile, we still have this going on. We still have giant locust swarms invading southern Saudi Arabia, while Kenya and the Horn of Africa brace for an apocalyptic return of this. And, the food situation is just, it's getting more and more worse every time we look at it. And yet, what do we see? And we've harped on this a lot, guys. We need everybody to harp on this. We see more military technology coming out and ways to destroy each other, ever increasingly, higher forms of technology, and spending tons of money on that. And the amount of money being spent on providing food for the people of the globe is just a sliver. I mean, it's not even pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, it's a pretty horrible ordeal that's going on.
So we have to ask ourselves, I was going to say, who does number 2 work for? Who does number 1 work for? Yep. Who do any of them work for? Is there anybody out there that's working for us?
Oh, well, we have to work for ourselves.
I guess that's the bottom line, because again, use the system to get out of the system and start to band together with like-minded people as best as you can. And have you ever seen blue lightning shooting upward from the thunderclouds? Now watch this. And upward to me, this was a beam me up moment. The ISS spotted a rare upside down lightning called a blue jet zipping up from a thundercloud into the stratosphere in 2019. As we see that is a little curvature of the Earth there. Sorry guys, it is a little curvature of the Earth. We know that you want it to be flat. And it is flat in one sense, because this is a holographic projection that we're in. But at the same time, if you were to look down at the Earth from space, it's not flat.
Yeah, there's a curve there.
There is a curve. And so if you develop your remote viewing skills, you can see that it's not flat. But then you can also see the bigger picture as well and see that this entire thing is just a matrix, a construct. Albeit it is a roundish construct.
Yeah, I think it's roundish.
But what are they trying to tell us with this? Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that doesn't feel natural. Are they going to say this is something going on, an interaction between the core of the Earth and the atmosphere, which they do interact without a doubt? but it didn't feel, to me, that felt more technological for sure. And they have a video here for you to watch. This video is an artistic impression. So this video is not real. What are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to tell us? That's basically what I'm trying to get from this, is what are they trying to tell us? Because they're trying to tell us something.
Well, I'm feeling that this is like a plasma type touchdown because of the blue. You look at the blue on the Earth, and I think it has to do with plasma. It's going to start touching certain areas on the planet.
And you know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of Rogue One, for all you Star Wars fans out there. You remember the Death Star technology and things like that? Interacting with the core of planets and the boom. And in Rogue One, they have it on a smaller scale where it actually is wiping out like cities and stuff. I wonder, is it just something to throw a little fear in us again?
It probably is, yeah.
And, this is just sad. We have a dead whale, which we've had many dead whales. This was in the Mediterranean, and it's one of the largest ever found at over 65 feet long. Massive, massive. The Italian Coast Guard tows it into the port of Naples. Wow. And, 65 feet, about 20 meters long, weighed more than 77 tons. And I bet you anything they find a whole bunch of plastic inside it.
I hope it doesn't burst.
It's sad. I mean, there's been so many. This is a finback whale. It's one of the second largest animal species on Earth. The blue whale being the biggest, and they are considered endangered. And again, it's the non-eco-friendly system in place. And think about how they divided us with that too. Because they get the people on the right saying to the people on the left, not everybody. I mean, there are people like us that, we side on the right here, we side on the left here, we side in the middle there. We look at every single different topic. We don't, like my mom, unfortunately, she would just pull the lever and vote blue everything, but that's Connecticut where I was growing up. And then there's those that will vote red everywhere, and they won't necessarily look at the topics. So they get people on one side to call people tree huggers. And meanwhile, at the same time, it's true that fracking poisons water. It's true that it's destabilizing the crust. At what expense? Because when we see all the fracking that they've done here in Colorado and down into New Mexico, over into Oklahoma, it's just ridiculous. And then how about Texas too? Remember when we were going by El Paso, and it's just loaded, and it's sad. But they are definitely giving us a recipe for disaster as we go into the deeper earth change.
I know, and it's really, really, really sad. I hate it.
And I don't know what to make of this, but Cindy insisted that we share this. The first preserved dinosaur butthole is perfect and unique, so say paleontologists.
Who doesn't need a little giggle? This is great.
This was a multi-purpose hole. Oh my God.
That's a good one.
Oh my God. I think we might be exceeding the PG-13 rating here.
I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a look that Zeke gets on his face sometimes when he's out there.
He looks impressed.
It was a cloacal vent. It was used for pooping, peeing, breeding, and egg laying.
Wow.
Yep. So they have a dinosaur's derriere that's so well preserved, researchers could see the remnants of two small bulges by its back door, which might have housed musky scent glands that the reptile possibly used during courtship. An anatomical quirk also seen in living crocodilians, said scientists who studied the specimen. Well, I wonder if that would attract some reptilians.
Maybe one or two.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see. Okay, well, sorry about that. Cindy insisted.
I hope you guys got a giggle.
As always, guys, make sure you are subscribed. Click the bell, get all notifications. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. You can reach out to us to set up a session at EEARTS, at Proton Mail, or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. May you guys always be blessed with abundant peace, love, security, and happiness, and may you find your perfect place in this world. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.